The day before the wedding, my brother suddenly sent me a message. Sis, I can't carry you to the wedding tomorrow. My girlfriend doesn't agree. She said maintain appropriate boundaries. If I carry you then she will break up with me, so I cannot help. Sis, you don't want me to be broken up with, do you? Good guy, you're giving me a power move before you're even married in? I turned my head and sent the screenshot to the family group. Hello everyone, my own brother in order to girlfriend tomorrow not back me to get married, now paid to recruit a brother back me to get married, cash endowment 5,000, first come first served. The night before the wedding, I was lying in bed ready to rest when I received a message from my brother Ethan. Sis, in or out? I was a little confused. Wasn't he obviously in the next room? Why did he have to send a message to say that? But I didn't think much of it and replied in seconds, what's up? My brother hesitated for a while, and the page kept showing that the other party was in the process of typing, but he never sent the message that I guess he was reluctant to let me get married, but was too embarrassed to say anything emotional that I felt some warmth in my heart and said comfortingly, say what you have to say, there is no need to be embarrassed in front of your sister. So, my brother finally got the words out, sister, it's like this that I can't carry you to the wedding tomorrow. My girlfriend doesn't agree. At that moment, I was baffled that I thought I had read it wrong, and I read it again several times before I could believe that what I saw was the truth, that I really didn't expect that my own brother, whom I had been with for 20 years, actually refused to carry me on his back on my wedding day because of the words of a girlfriend who had been talking to him for less than half a year. I said in disbelief, but isn't it always the younger brother who carries the wedding? It's just a custom, why would she disagree? My brother replied. She said that it is important to maintain appropriate boundaries, even for siblings, to avoid suspicion. Anyway, she said she'll break up with me if I carry you tomorrow, so I can't do anything about it. Sis, you don't want me to get broken up either, do you? Honestly, I'm speechless. Sisters and brothers have to avoid suspicion, so you can't let your brother carry you on your sister's wedding day, or else you don't have a sense of boundaries. That if we have to avoid suspicion to such an extent, then when my brother was born, did my mom and I have to leave home? No, he should avoid suspicion to the point of not letting my mom give birth to him. Thinking of my mom, I forced down the anger in my heart and asked, have you told mom and dad about this? What did they say? My intention was to use mom and dad to pressure him, but I didn't expect his answer to once again refresh my lower limit. My brother paused and said, I didn't say anything. I'm afraid that our dad will beat me up. Sister, why don't you tell them that it's you who doesn't want me to carry you? Well, you just say that you want your brother-in-law to carry you downstairs. Well, that I was almost so angry that I spit out blood. He is both do not want to offend his girlfriend, but also do not want to be scolded by parents, so even came up with the bad idea of letting me carry the pot for him. What does he think I am? He thinks I'm some kind of a sucker who's going to swallow a broken tooth in his stomach. Originally, I wanted my parents to persuade him and give him another chance. However, since he is so unresponsive, there is no need to give him this chance. That I only said coldly, in that case, I don't need you to carry it tomorrow. My brother was overjoyed. That's great, sis. Remember to talk to mom about it. Don't let them talk about me if I slip up. I rolled my eyes and ignored him. Instead, I just got up and went and knocked on the door of my parents' room and yelled, Dad, Mom. My brother is afraid that his girlfriend will get jealous, so he won't carry me to the wedding tomorrow. My brother was shocked to hear that. He hurriedly ran out from his bedroom and looked at me with a nervous face. Sis, what are you talking about? Didn't we just agree on this? Why did you suddenly change your mind? As he said this, he tried to pull me away, trying to stop me from continuing in front of mom and dad. But I shook off his hand and said coldly, who discussed this with you? Are you afraid of what others will say when you've done it yourself? My brother was so angry that his face changed. He was anxious, angry, and scared. He seemed to want to say something to save the day, but was interrupted by my dad. He said without anger, what the hell is going on? So I told them the whole story, and showed them my brother and his chats as proof. After hearing this, my dad was furious. Ethan, is your sister telling the truth? For the sake of an outsider, you don't even carry your sister's marriage? At this moment, my dad's eyes staring at Ethan were cold and scary. I recognized this look, and every time after this look appeared from his face, Ethan would inevitably get a beating. Ethan cringed a little, but still stoutly retorted, Yao Yao is not an outsider, she is my future wife. I forbid you to talk about Yao Yao like that. She's also jealous of my sister because she cares too much about me. Do you want me to find a wife who doesn't care about me at all, who doesn't care about me even if I kiss and sleep with other women before you're satisfied? It's true that if you're not a family, you don't enter a family. These two are really a match made in heaven. One is jealous of the other's loved ones, and the other not only doesn't want to find a way to correctly guide them, but instead is still complacent about it. Ridiculous. Ethan's righteousness made my dad even more irritated. You little brat are pissing me off. Let's see if I don't clean you up. After saying that, he was so angry that he got up and rushed over in Ethan's direction, raising his slap to Ethan. I told you to turn your elbow to the outside. I told you to see a woman and go out of your way. I told you to make your sister unhappy. There were several slaps in a row, and in no time Ethan's face was red. Ethan wailed in pain, although my mom was also angry, but in the end, her brother was also a piece of meat that fell off her body. She still felt pain in her heart. So she was busy persuading him. Old Lee. Almost enough, don't really give your son a bad beating. Only then did my dad stop and asked Ethan with a sense of intimidation, I'm going to ask you one last time, are you going to carry your sister to her wedding tomorrow or not? However, the pain was still there. Ethan's mouth was still hard. He still refused to give in. He said word for word, I won't carry her. I have promised Yo-Yo that I will not carry my sister tomorrow. I can't go back on my promise. I laughed coldly. Then what about your promise to carry me to my wedding tomorrow? What, you can go back on what you promised me, but you can't go back on what you promised your girlfriend? Ethan froze for a moment at my dislike. After reacting for a while, he argued, that's different. Yao Yao is my favorite person. If I go back on my promise, she will break up with me. She's my life. I can't lose her. My dad was so angry that he was speechless. He gritted his teeth and looked at Ethan, scolding, no talent. I can't wait to beat you to death. My brother, on the other hand, twisted his face aside, still looking defiant. If you want to fight, just beat me to death anyway. Ethan, will never fail Yao Yao in my life. Seeing that the two seemed to be about to fight again, my mom was busy persuading from it. Okay, you two stop fighting. Lily is getting married tomorrow. The most important thing now is to think about how to solve the problem. She let out a long sigh. Then she looked at me helplessly and said, Lily, you can see that your father has beaten and scolded, but your brother just won't listen. We can't do anything about it. Why don't you walk over there by yourself then, or let Hao Qing carry you there? Mom knows that this has wronged you, but Mom can't think of a better way. There was a slight hesitation and evasion in her words, clearly showing that she felt a little guilty about it. After all, her own daughter's once-in-a-lifetime life event had become unsuccessful because of her brother's girlfriend, so she definitely felt guilty. But she didn't want me to continue to pursue this and let my brother then get beaten up by my dad. That would hurt her heart. So she could only come up with this solution that wasn't a solution, begging me to agree. As long as I give in, this family can return to peace. My brother would be able to get through the crisis, my dad would no longer be angry, and she wouldn't have to suffer for it. It's just that the only thing that will make me suffer a little bit is just that. After my mom finished speaking, my dad and my brother also turned their heads to look at me, with a hint of hope in their eyes to a greater or lesser extent. Obviously, they all hoped that I could take advantage of the situation. However, I'm going to let them down. I pretended to be sorry. This is not a good idea. It's our custom to let our brothers carry the wedding car on their backs. If you walk down by yourself, people who don't know will think we have no man in our family. My brother's face just a little relaxed, heard my words but anxious. What do you mean? Do you want me to carry you? Do you have to make our family a family discord? My dad slapped me again. Shut up. I'll tell you what, I'll carry you on my back tomorrow. At least I won't let my daughter lose face on her wedding day. I shook my head. How can that be? Dad, you have chronic back pain. What if your condition worsens when you carry me tomorrow? I can't let you take that risk. My brother rolled his eyes and made a tsk sound. He said impatiently, this or that, what do you want? I thought for a moment. Only then did I reveal my true intentions. I'll tell you what, I'll get one of my cousins to carry me, and then I'll give Ethan the cash envelope I originally prepared for him. That way I'll have face and Dad won't have to get tired. Best of both worlds. I certainly didn't do it to save face. I just wanted to publicize Ethan and his girlfriend, so that all the relatives would know what Ethan is like. That way, even if I fall out with Ethan later, I won't be the one who gets poked and prodded. Ethan may be love-brained, but he's not stupid. He knows that if I walk by myself or let my date carry me or even let my dad carry me, I can come up with a reasonable excuse. But the only thing that won't work is finding another cousin. It would be easy for others to guess that the problem was with him. So he was the first to stand up and object. No, I don't agree. What will your relatives think of me if you let them carry your back? Besides, who are you to take it upon yourself to give someone else the cash envelope that you are going to give me? I've promised Yao Yao to buy her cosmetics with this cash envelope. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. He really wants both. He doesn't want to carry me, he doesn't want to lose the cash envelope, and he's worried that it'll make him lose face by telling the truth. Mom and Dad were silent, too. Obviously, they weren't happy with my offer either, although the palm of the hand is meat, the meat on the palm of the hand is obviously thicker than the meat on the back of the hand. Although they loved me, their son was more important in their eyes, so they weren't willing to compromise Ethan's reputation for my sake. They just wanted to make a big deal out of it. Good thing, I had already thought of a countermeasure that I gave him a disdainful look that it doesn't matter if you don't agree, Mom and Dad do. My mom froze for a moment before speaking up in embarrassment. Lily, actually, I knew that she probably wanted to say that they didn't agree either, but I didn't give her a chance to open her mouth. That I turned my head to look at her with a smile. Mom, I know you guys are actually on my side. Our family is different from those families that favor sons over daughters. How could you possibly let me suffer at the wedding tomorrow just because of my brother's words? My brother may be young and uneducated, but you guys are very sensible, right, Mom? My words were a wake-up call to them that if my brother doesn't get married behind my back, I can still say that he's young and uneducated, and my relatives will at most say a few words about it and get over it. But if they blatantly favored my brother at my wedding and wouldn't even let me ask another cousin to carry me, once that gets out, they'll be known as favor sons over daughters. Favor sons over daughters, in our place is to be poked and prodded. My mom laughed too. Cover it up, right, how can Mom favor sons over daughters? Just do as you say to him. My brother was stunned. Mom, why don't you even favor me anymore? You've always been the best to me, haven't you? My mom was already angry, but she kept it inside and didn't show it. Now that she was being questioned by my brother, it was as if she had found an outlet for her anger. She shouted angrily at her brother, "Shut up. I'll beat you up if you keep pushing." In this battle without smoke, I was completely victorious. After they left, I immediately sent a screenshot of my brother's chat with me to the family group, saying, "Hello everyone, my own brother for his girlfriend tomorrow not back me to get married, now paid to recruit a brother back me to get married, cash endowment 5,000, first come first served." The screenshot was just sent out not a moment ago. The group exploded, cousin #1:5000, drooling, "Sister, I'll do it. I promise to carry you to the wedding car without taking a breath." Cousin #2, "Sister, I'll carry you, in cheaper, just give me 4,000. Cousin number 1, "I'll take 3,000. Uncle, you two boys stay aside, carry your sister on a wedding car. Really want to cash envelope? Ah, ting ting ah, cash envelope will not have to give ha. Tomorrow I directly let my family boss back you on the wedding car on the line." Cousin #1, "Okay, promise to finish the task." Me, "Thank you uncle, thank you brother, but the cash envelope still needs to be given. Don't be polite with me on this one. This money they cannot want, but I cannot not give. The money was going to be given out anyway, so instead of giving it to my ungrateful brother, I'd rather give it to my cousin who knows what he's doing. This way I can get a good reputation, and secondly, I can be angry with Ethan. It's a good deal any way you look at it. Meanwhile, other relatives in the group also spoke up. Big Aunt, yo, you're already giving your big aunt a hard time before you even get married. Xian's little girlfriend is not simple. Cousin, I've only seen this kind of plot in novels. I didn't expect the drama queen to be by my side. Uncle, Xian was quite normal when he wasn't in a relationship. Why did he become like this once he was in a relationship? What kind of magic soup did his boyfriend give him? What kind of magic soup did his boyfriend put in him that made him give up his own sister to make his girlfriend happy? To be honest, although the relatives were being sarcastic, their intention was still good. Seeing that Ethan had found a girlfriend who was such an asshole, and that Ethan was still obedient to her, they were naturally angry. But after all, Ethan is a relative of his own family, is a junior that he has watched grow up since he was a child. Everyone can't directly open their mouths to scold him, so they all unspokenly pointed the spearhead at Ethan's girlfriend. So, half jokingly and half sarcastically, they gave him a reminder, hoping that he could get back on track earlier. Unexpectedly, Ethan blew up. He was so angry that he cursed in the group. "You can scold me, but I will never allow you to scold Yo-Yo. She loves me too much, that's why she's jealous. She's very simple, she's not like what you guys are saying. I voluntarily drew the line with other women for her. If you dare to criticize Yao one more time, I'll turn my back on you." What a wife protector. After he finished scolding, the group was silent. No one said anything wrong about Ethan's girlfriend again. But no one was willing to talk to Ethan again either. That night Ethan posted a friend's circle. "For you, I am willing to be the enemy of the world," to Yo-Yo. The next day at my wedding, Ethan kept on putting on a foul face that he didn't participate in all the processes, just kept sitting on the couch and messaging with his girlfriend, with a completely unconcerned attitude. I knew that this was his revenge on me, but I wasn't angry, and even felt a little ridiculous. because what he did didn't really have any effect on me. Instead, it only made everyone think that he had no discipline. Hurting the enemy is 0, and damaging himself is 10,000. By the time my cousin carried me downstairs, he was still expressionless, until he saw her, only to see that when my cousin carried me downstairs, a girl wearing Xiao Qiao's white lace gown ran over from the crowd, smiled, and slapped Ethan, who was playing with his cell phone with his head down, still playing. Your wife is here and you don't even know it. Ethan looked up and his eyes lit up. He said with a surprised look on his face, "Baby, what are you doing here? Why didn't you tell me in advance?" The girl raised an eyebrow and hummed lightly, "How could I tell you in advance? I'm here to check up on you and see if you've kept our agreement." She then glanced towards me, who was on my cousin's back, and spoke approvingly to Ethan. "Congratulations. You passed the test." The relatives looked sideways and looked her up and down out of the corner of their eyes. Her outfit would have been noteworthy enough for the day. As soon as she opened her mouth, everyone knew her identity, and after thinking about what her brother did last night, everyone was naturally very curious about her. Zoe, however, didn't know what was going on and thought that people thought she looked good. She gathered the broken hair around her ears and smiled slightly shyly. "What are you all looking at me for? Do I have something on my face?" Ethan doted. "Look at how good you look. You're so beautiful that you've compared to my sister, the bride. So who are they going to look at if not you?" That's good. Today is the most important day of my life." Yet one of them wore a wedding gown to my wedding, and the other complimented his girlfriend by belittling me. What's even funnier is that Zoe's not happy about the compliment. "Aren't you full of crap? I'm 5 years younger than your sister. Of course I look better than her." Ethan laughed. Yes, my little aunt is naturally beautiful." Cousin couldn't look away. She rolled her eyes and mocked. "It's really clown chasing attention, looking ugly and playing with flowers, wearing a wedding dress on someone else's wedding day. You won't live to see your own wedding day." Growing an unflattering face, still have the nerve to say that they are better looking than the bride. Is it since childhood have never looked in the mirror? Do you want my corgi to take a piss for you to take a look? Zoe was so angry that tears were coming out of her eyes. Her nose turned red and she pouted to my brother. Xian, look at her." My brother was busy defending her. "Sister Lulu, how can you say that about Yo-Yo?" Cousin gave him another blank look. "Shut up. You're no good either. You don't even carry your sister's wedding just to keep that little bitch from getting jealous. What kind of a brother are you? Your sister has loved you for nothing for so many years. This is great." Originally only a few of our relatives knew about yesterday's incident, but now all the guests at the wedding know about it. Everyone there was pointing their fingers at Ethan and Zoe. What kind of people are they? What kind of person wears a wedding gown to her boyfriend's sister's wedding and won't allow him to carry her on his back? What's wrong with you? I'm drunk. Someone is even jealous of her boyfriend's own sister. It's not just the woman's problem, it's the man's too. The two of them are a perfect match, with one being a sperm and the other being a pushover. No one in their right mind could have done this. Zoe cried in anger. My brother was so angry he pointed at the crowd and cursed. "Shut up all of you, and don't say another word." When my parents came downstairs, they heard my brother yelling at the crowd. When they saw Zoe standing next to my brother, they realized what was going on. My dad slapped my brother across the head. "What are you talking about? Who are you going to be rude to? Are you going to offend all your relatives for her?" Ethan covered his head in pain, but his mouth was still stubborn. "What's wrong with that? Yo-Yo is worth it." When my dad was so angry that he wanted to slap Ethan, my mom became a mediator again. "Agu, today is your daughter's big day. Don't hit the kid. He won't listen to you anyway." My dad was so choked up that he couldn't speak. He paused for half a day and finally sighed. This child will be spoiled by you sooner or later." Taking advantage of this time, my mom was busy giving Ethan a wink. "Okay Xian, you hurry to take Yao Yao out to play. Yao first time to come to our place. You hurry to take her around to play." She really didn't want to see Ethan and Zoe make any more trouble, and she also knew that Zoe was not dressed appropriately, so she wanted them to leave quickly. Ethan probably didn't want to stay here either, so he turned his head to look at Zoe questioningly. Yao. Zoe, however, rejected it outright. "No, you haven't even gotten your cash envelope yet. What's the point of leaving? It's hard to believe that you're going to take me to press the road." After Zoe finished speaking, she turned her head and looked at me again. Why now? I was already in the wedding car. I gave 5,000 cash envelope to my cousin who carried me all the way, and another 1,000 cash envelope to my cousin who just helped me out, making both of them smile happily. Zoe's eyes immediately lit up with excitement. "Ethan, cash envelope. Even your cousin received 5,000, so your own brother, should receive 10,000 at any rate." when you get the cash envelope, you can buy me a full set of cosmetics. As she said that, she pushed Ethan to come up and ask me for the money. Ethan was a bit hesitant. It's Zoe said with a TSK, impatiently. What's wrong? She's your real sister. Where would a sister get married and not give her brother a cash envelope? Go, go, go. Ethan was moved by her. So, he really came up to me and asked for the cash envelope. Sis, where's mine? Gee, he's got a big face that he actually had the nerve to ask me for it. I gave Ho Sung a look and Ho Sung immediately understood and took a cash envelope from his pocket and handed it to Ethan. It's just a cash envelope. It's only $5 or $10. This point of money I still willing to give him. Ethan felt out the thickness is not right. He immediately opened the cash envelope, found that there is only $10 inside. He was stunned. $10? I laughed. You're pretty lucky, only $10 in hundreds of cash envelopes. You're lucky. My cousin teased with a smile as well. There's a $2 store in front of the neighborhood. Go take your girlfriend to buy cosmetics. Ethan was furious that he pointed at me with an angry face. What do you mean? You give Ryan $5,000 and Sophia $1,000. But you only give me $10. What kind of a sister are you? Cousin snatched the $10 from his hand and gave it back to me. Too little. Then give it back to your sister. I explained with an innocent look on my face. I gave Ryan the money for carrying me to the wedding car, and I gave my sister the money for being my maid of honor. Yes, it's true that a sister has to give her brother a cash envelope at the wedding, but it's also true that you have to carry me to the wedding car, so how am I supposed to give you a cash envelope if you refuse to do so? I said, justifiably, that I had a good point and Ethan couldn't refute it. At this moment my mom rushed over to make amends. Xian, Mom will give you the cash envelope. Stop fooling around. Mom will transfer 10,000 yuan to you now. Then she immediately took out her cell phone and transferred money to Ethan. Ethan said, it's okay. But Zoe was not satisfied. How can this be the same? Your mom's money will be yours, and it has nothing to do with your sister, isn't this the same as your sister not giving you the cash envelope? My mom was also angry with her, but since today is my wedding day, and Zoe is the person my brother holds dear to his heart, she couldn't say anything serious to Zoe. She could only hold on to a smiling face and explained, then as your sister borrowed my cash envelope, well, this is still your sister out of the money, later let your sister back to me. Zoe was satisfied. Xian, remember this, remember to ask your sister for it after we get married. Ethan nodded obediently. Okay, they'll do whatever you say. Only after the cash envelope arrived did the two of them finally walk away hand in hand. Only when the two of them walked away did my mom's smile gradually freeze. She gritted her teeth and said, you two still want to get married in your next life. Seeing this, everyone couldn't help but laugh. Without these two plagues, my wedding went smoothly. From the opening vows to the final curtain call, every step of the process went without a hitch and ended successfully. That night, Hao Cheng and I lie on the big bed in the wedding room, counting the money beautifully, both sides of the family and friends of the gift, plus the dowry and bride price, as well as the elders to give the blessing gift, add in a piece of more than $500,000. I am very happy to say, so much money, Harry. Hao Cheng looked at me with a smile on his face. He joked with me, a rich woman is asking for her hand in marriage. I raised my eyebrows and teased him. I don't know if you're physically capable, but I'm not sure if I can keep you. This rich woman doesn't want to keep anyone. This was just a joke. But Jose's eyes suddenly became dark. He came over to me, a handsome face suddenly enlarged. He took my hand and said softly, if I'm good or not, won't you just try? My face went red in a blur. Only, just as we were about to have something happen, my cell phone rang. It was Ethan. I was a little weirded out, wondering what he meant by calling me at this hour, but I answered it anyway. I wanted to see what else he was up to. As soon as the call was answered, I saw Zoe's face that was so angry that it was deformed. She looked at me with cold eyes and asked, you made a lot of money by tying the knot, didn't you? I felt a little funny and asked back, what's it to you? Zoe became even more angry. How is it none of my business? I am the future mistress of this house. I heard from Xian that not only did you not leave the dowry to your parents, but you also took away a lot of dowry, and even the money for the wedding banquet was all put in your own pocket. How can you be a sister like that? Oh, I see, you're thinking of my dowry and bride price. We haven't even gotten married yet, and you're already trying to suck my blood. I said coldly. Oh, then call the police. Zoe was on the verge of tears. What kind of attitude is this, you bully? After saying that, she even directly jumped into Ethan's arms whimpering and cried. Ethan was heartbroken. He looked at me with a cold face and said, Li Yuan, you've gone too far. Yao Yao is talking to you in a nice voice to solve the problem. How can you treat her like this? I smiled coldly. Solve a problem? Solve what? You want me to give you the dowry and the dowry? Ethan's face lightened up a bit, and it looked as if I had made my point that he paused before saying, that doesn't need to be that much. What I discussed with Yao Yao is that you can keep the dowry yourself and return the dowry our parents gave you to me. Yao Yao said that those bride price you keep it for yourself. That I was furious and amused. So, I have to thank her. Ethan looked relieved. And no need to thank her, just remember to appreciate Yo-Yo's favor and be nicer to her in the future. He really doesn't understand people's words. Give him a pole and he'll climb up. Even if he uses his brain a little bit, he would know that I am saying the opposite, right? I couldn't listen to him and directly interrupted him. Shut up you. If you want my dowry, fine, but it's what my mom gave me, so let her ask me for it. If my mom asks me for it, they'll give it back to her. Then I hung up. I don't want to talk to this idiot. I want to get on with business. Someone can't wait. Of course my mom wouldn't ask me for a dowry. She may have some favorite sons over daughters, but my daughter is more important than my brother's girlfriend. What's more, she didn't give a damn about my brother's girlfriend. So when my brother came home with Zoe and said he wanted my mom to ask me for my dowry back, my mom refused outright. She said that our family doesn't favor sons over daughters, and there's no reason to ask for my dowry back. She told Zoe to marry if she could accept it, or leave if she couldn't. Zoe deflated her mouth and cried again. Where is your family doing things like this? If you don't withhold your daughter's dowry for your son's marriage, you're giving her so much dowry. Isn't that emphasizing the girl over the boy? And you're still being mean to me about your daughter. I haven't even gotten married yet and you're treating me like this. What if I do get married? As she added fuel to the fire, Ethan and my mom had a big fight. I end his emotional state. Ethan said all sorts of harsh things. Why? Yo-Yo is the most important person in my life. Why are you and my sister bullying her? Why? Do you want to break us up? You don't accept Yo-Yo? Fine, let's break the relationship between mother and son. From now on, you go your way, I'll go mine, and we'll never see each other again. You go with my sister, I won't bother you anymore. My mom wasn't in particularly good health to begin with. She was so agitated by him that she was directly angered. As my brother was about to pull Zoe and slam the door, she fell headlong to the ground. Originally, my brother thought that my mom was just acting, doing a bitter trick to fool him, but when he couldn't wake my mom up, he panicked and rushed to call the 120 emergency number. While the ambulance was on its way, the EMT instructed my brother on the phone to give my mom first aid. Now you need to perform artificial respiration and CPR on the patient immediately. You now do as I say. Except, my brother was just about to give my mom artificial respiration when Zoe stopped him. How is this going to work? You're going to kiss your mom? That's disgusting, even if you just kiss. CPR means you have to touch your mom's sensitive parts with your hands later. Isn't that incest? No, I can't take it to them. Why brother really stopped what he was doing and explained to her, Yo-Yo, this can't be considered as incest, right? This is first aid. I can't let my mom die just for the sake of the so-called etiquette, right? Zoe insisted. You can't save her if you don't kiss her on the mouth. Her comment woke Ethan up and Ethan snapped out of it, right? If I don't kiss her, you can kiss her, Yo-Yo. You can give my mom artificial respiration. Zoe gets even more annoyed. I'll kiss your mom, Ethan. Are you kidding me? If you don't find it disgusting, I'll find it disgusting. The doctor on the other end of the phone was on the verge of crying that I am disgusting. I'm disgusting, okay? Please stop arguing and give the patient first aid. Unfortunately, the doctor's words were of no help. Zoe was still angry and Ethan was still trying to coax her. No one cared about my mom. The end, it was a kind-hearted neighbor who heard the commotion and came to my house to give my mom first aid, which saved her from the brink of death. When my dad heard the whole story, he was furious. His face turned red and his forehead was bruised, looking as if he wanted to eat my brother alive. My brother tried to run away, but how could he, a tiny, defenseless dog, stand up to my dad, a middle-aged, burly man? As soon as my dad grabbed my brother's shoulders, he kicked him hard in the ass. He could be said to have used all his strength this time, kicking my brother from the front of my mom's hospital bed directly to the outside of the hospital room. It made my brother cry out in pain. Zoe fought for my brother. Uncle, how can you hit someone? Only, before she could finish her sentence, she received a solid slap from my dad. Slap? My dad angrily rebuked. I not only hit him, I also hit you. Neither one of you can escape. Of course he was angry. His wife, who he's been with for decades, almost died because of those two idiots. If Ethan was smart, had just take a beating and admit he was wrong. After all, he's my dad's own son, and even if my dad was angry, he couldn't really disown him. What's more, he really made a big mistake this time. However, Ethan didn't seem to be getting the hang of it. He was able to tolerate the beating, but when he saw my dad hit Zoe, he couldn't tolerate it anymore. He pulled Zoe behind him. Dad, it's okay for you to hit me. How can you hit Yo-Yo? This incident with Mom was just an accident. Why are you taking it out on us? Now you know you are angry. Where were you when Mom was in a coma? At least Yao Yao and I called an ambulance for her. My dad yelled in anger. I was at work. I was earning you money for your wife. Accident? Bullshit accident. Would your mom be like this if you weren't so mad at her? Zoe snorted. Is Xian the only one who earns money? Doesn't your daughter get a share too? Don't put all the blame on Xian. Alone, Ethan was so moved that he cried. Thank you, Yao Yao. Thank you for standing up for me. Seeing that these two were still in love under such circumstances, my dad was speechless. He couldn't hold back any longer and scolded. Get out. Both of you, get out of here. I don't have a son like you anymore. Okay, that's what you say. Later, Ethan really took Zoe with him. They took the $10,000 my mom gave them and left for another country, but since they didn't have a high education, they couldn't find a good job, so they had to work in a factory, which was tiring and low paid, but they don't feel bitter, on the contrary, because they are far away from us. Meddle in relationships of relatives most of the time also stay together, the relationship is closer. They even secretly got a marriage license because they don't need a hookup to get married anymore. On the day they got the license, they even made an official announcement in their circle of friends, we're married, and no one will ever be able to break us up. Again, when I learned the news, my parents were still traveling. They have long been open, so not as usual anxious and angry, but also as usual in the circle of friends to send their own travel photos. The sun was shining and the years were quiet. After all, they have been disappointed in this son. A son of their own careful care grew up, but in order to coax his girlfriend happy, even his own mother's life are not concerned about. After the incident is not half regret. What's the point of having this son? Instead of worrying about this little white-eyed wolf, why don't you put your time and energy into yourself and live for yourself? At that moment, my mom sent me a message. Lily, isn't your birthday coming up soon these days? Mom and Dad bought you a gold necklace, so I'll put it on you when we get back. Wow, thanks Mom, you're the best to me. They've been treating me better and better too. Ever since the last time, they've been treating me better and better. Slowly, I was treated like an only child. They would think of buying me gifts when we went out. They would cook me a big table of delicious food when I came home, and they even subsidized a large sum of money for Hao Cheng and I when we were about to buy a house. Although I know that a large part of the reason is that they feel that their son can't be relied on anymore, so they want to rely on me to give them old age. But I didn't think much of it. After all, it's hard to be confused. They also love me so many years and did not really treat me harshly. Food, clothing, housing and transportation are the best within their ability. Just in the face of the younger brother, they will be skewed a little bit of the balance in their hearts. What's more, they have a pension, and old age is not a big problem. So I was happy to play the role of their good daughter. But the peace and quiet didn't last long when Ethan's side of the family got into trouble again. Zoe got pregnant. When she got pregnant, she was no longer fit to work in the workshop, so she quit her job and took care of her baby in a rented house. In order to earn more money to support his wife and child, Ethan also changed his job to become a salesman in a real estate company, just because he heard that sales is very lucrative. But sales is a job. It's not enough just to be able to sell things. You have to have a good relationship with your customers. For example, the door to help customers to change a light bulb, customers' birthday to customers to send a gift, to buy a cup of milk tea to customers. This is what he must do. But Zoe couldn't stand it, because Zoe can't stand Ethan being close to other women. In her eyes, Ethan can only give himself gifts, can only give himself to buy milk tea, to other women. To do these things is cheating. That's why she went to the door more than once to catch him in the act. She twice poured the milk tea on the female customers 4 times in Ethan and female customers' dinner. Cursed female customers as a mistress, but also more than once deleted Ethan WeChat in the intention to cooperate with female customers, spoiled Ethan's several orders. Ethan endured again and again. When he can't stand it, Ethan will say a few words about her, but as soon as Ethan talked to her, she pummeled her stomach, looking for death. For the sake of the baby in her stomach, Ethan had to coax her every time, coaxing for a long time and buying some gifts to coax her. The gifts cost hundreds of dollars, adding to their already small wallets. But there is a limit to one's patience. Even if Ethan loves her, there comes a time when his patience runs out. When Zoe argued with Ethan for the nth time about a female client, Ethan started a cold war with her instead of coaxing her. So, the next day, when Ethan was negotiating with a female client, Zoe cut her face with a knife. a deep wound that almost disfigured her. As a result, the company fired Ethan. And Ethan faced tens of thousands of dollars in compensation. With no other choice, he went home and asked his parents to help him. Mom, Dad, Zoe hurt someone and needs to pay. Yes, instead of Yo-Yo, he now calls Zoe by his full name. He no longer looked at Zoe with the same passionate love in his eyes, but with a little bit of disgust. But for the sake of the baby in her belly, he had to help him out. My parents didn't say anything. Just sighed deeply and gave him the money. It's not that they didn't want to say anything, but they didn't have anything to say. They were already disappointed in their son. After paying off the compensation, Ethan and Zoe wanted to go back to live with my parents, mainly so that my mom could wait for Zoe and help them with the baby. But my mom refused. No, I'm afraid that living under the same roof with my son won't give me a sense of boundaries and make you jealous. Let's live separately. My father also said, it's not good for a father-in-law to live with his daughter-in-law. It's not a good influence. So my parents refused their request to come home and rented them a room in the neighborhood. They had to move into a rented house. Zoe's own mother refused to take care of her during the month, because their whole heart is on their own grandchildren. How can they spare time to take care of their daughter and granddaughter? What's more, they still hold a grudge against Zoe for getting a marriage license without saying a word, leaving them without a penny of dowry. So Ethan had to take care of Zoe himself, but he has no experience in taking care of Zoe, so there are inevitably a lot of oversights. However, Zoe is a very serious person. Whenever there is something wrong, she likes to quarrel with Ethan, and the relationship between them becomes more and more difficult. As a result, Ethan is no longer happy with Zoe, but when facing his own daughter, he would change his face and become extremely patient. Zoe went crazy in the face of the stark contrast. She felt that her daughter had stolen her husband's love. She couldn't accept that her husband was so good to another woman other than herself. She felt that her husband hated her because of her daughter. She wondered if her husband's love would return if her daughter disappeared. So, after she and Ethan had another fight and Ethan spoke ill of her, her hatred for her daughter reached the extreme. She went straight to the kitchen and grabbed a kitchen knife. I'll cut her up, I'll cut her up. When this little bitchy hoof is dead, you will love me again. Yeah, that must be it. Ethan tries to stop her, but the struggling Zoe slashes him in the neck and blood spurts out. Zoe sees this and panics. She only wanted to cut the daughter who stole her husband's love and did not want to hurt her own husband, so she rushed to call 120 emergency, but because of the cut to the aorta, the ambulance did not come. Ethan died. Zoe was sentenced to 7 years for manslaughter. Their daughter was taken home by my parents and raised by them. The arrival of this granddaughter dispelled a lot of gloom for them who had lost their beloved son. As for me, Hao Ching has been very obedient to me after the marriage and life has been smooth, and my parents and in-laws will always think of me first when they have something good to offer. I am quite satisfied with my life now.